Jessica Kostek, coming from the TMC newsroom, here with Rich Tehrani. How are you?
Great, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Now, I saw on your blog that you were speaking about Dialogic. Can you tell us a little bit about the company?
Sure. Well, Dialogic is a company that provides communication solutions, building blocks, for service providers as well as network equipment manufacturers, companies that make other communications products. Dialogic helps them build those products.
And they're recently acquiring NMS. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Well, for those people that have been in the telecom space for a number of years, you all know that there's been a fierce competition between Dialogic, NMS, Brook Trout, and a number of other companies that used to supply purely boards that allowed things like voicemail systems to be built, things called DSP resource boards, and basically boards packed with DSPs that allowed a voice call to be converted into data to be stored, let's say, on a hard disk, so that when you leave a voicemail for somebody, it gets recorded and goes on the hard disk so that they could listen to it later on.
Okay. And I saw you were also speaking about Bruff Turner, and what is his association with this news?
So going back years, for those people, again, who've been in telecom for a number of years or decades, you remember the rivalry between NMS and Brook Trout and Dialogic, and during the CTI wars of the 90s, and at the trade shows, you'd see these companies battling it out to see who could have the bigger pavilion and the most partners, and Bruff was the CTO and a major part of Natural Microsystems, or NMS. And he is going to now be working for Dialogic as the Chief Strategy Officer. And so I personally have known Bruff for over a decade, and I'd like to take a little bit of credit for asking him to write. I remember when I first met him in the 90s, Bruff would be flying around the world speaking at conferences, and I told him, you could also write, not only speak, but you could write, and you can reach an even larger audience. And at the time in the 90s, before Twittering and blogging and Facebook and articles and all the other things that we have now, writing was not something that was as common as speaking at shows. Events were things that, people went to a lot of events, they didn't necessarily write as much. But now, with blogs and Twitter and Facebook and all the other social networks, writing has become very popular, and we're thankful that Bruff's been writing for us now for over a decade, and always fantastic content. But moreover, I'm excited for him because he's got an opportunity now to work at Dialogic, a company that seems to have a good amount of positive momentum. They've made a bunch of acquisitions. They've done some consolidating of the industry. They've got a significant amount of market share. And he also was able to work with a large team of engineers. Now, I also mentioned in my blog that the downside, of course, is that there's an order of magnitude more complexity because Dialogic has assembled a bunch of companies together and trying to get all these disparate pieces of hardware to work with one another and try to figure out product life cycles and things like that obviously is more complicated, and I think Bruff is up to the task of getting involved in all of that.
Have you spoken to him recently?
The last time I spoke with Bruff was at Internet Telephony Conference and Expo in Los Angeles, where the acquisition had been announced, but it hadn't gone through. The deal just went through a couple days ago, right. Just Friday of last week, in fact. So at the time, it hadn't even gone through, and I'm not sure that Bruff was 100% sure where he was going to go. And I'm really thrilled now that we'll still be working with him and with our friends at Dialogic.
And how do mobile value add services how do they play into Dialogic?
Okay, so that's what this acquisition is all about. It's the concept now of helping service providers drive more services to customers that they're going to spend money on. So in the U.S., now hopefully those of you in Asia that are watching this, you know all this, but those of my listeners that are or my viewers in the U.S. and other more Western parts of the world, you may not be familiar, but in Asia, there's a massive rollout of gaming where video is playing an integral part. So Nick Jensen, the CEO of Dialogic, often talks about how video is playing an important part of gaming, mobile gaming especially, where let's say you're playing poker with someone and being able to see their face to kind of figure out what they're thinking. Because when you're playing poker live with somebody, you can see their facial expressions and determine, are they bluffing, are they not bluffing. That's just one area that is ripe for more revenue. Then there's things like video ringback services. There are a bunch of things you can do with online dating, where you're able to have mobile apps or mobile online dating services where someone's nearby, you can see their picture, and if you think that you like them, you can maybe talk with them via video, and if you hit it off via video, then you can connect. Now you combine that with GPS, and you figure now you can find someone who's similar to you or has similar interests to you in your geographical area, and then you just have a chance encounter with someone. You just meet them. You just say, okay, well, why don't you meet me here, meet me there? I mean, just the potential is tremendous, and that's just on the consumer side. Now you've got the video side. Nick Jensen at the Dialogic One conference recently at the Hotel Del Coronado in San Diego a couple months back talked about things like being able to have video conversations where we're all having a meeting and it's all videotaped, and we're able to archive it for later either legal discovery, or we're able to archive it to determine who was assigned what. Let's say we had a meeting and I decided I was going to take an article on IBM and you were going to take an article on Microsoft. Well, tomorrow, if I didn't write my article on IBM and you didn't write your article on Microsoft, we could say, okay, well, look, you said you're going to do it. Here's the video archive. We can just type in Microsoft and IBM and see exactly who was assigned what, just to kind of keep us keep track of the kinds of things that organizations do. So really enabling the next generation of productivity and accountability in contact centers, or in organizations. And contact centers is the reason I said that is that's a whole nother set of applications where Nick believes that the future is going to be video contact centers, where we'll be able to see agents, and we might even be able to, an example he gave was, I'll have my mobile phone, and let's say I have a problem with my copier in my office. I have a small office, and I just bought this copier, and the call center agent says, well, what's wrong with it? And you just turn your phone and you press the button, and you start streaming video of the thing spitting papers out, or doing whatever it's doing. And then you turn it around and you look at the call center agent, and they're speaking with you, and hopefully they can help resolve your problem step by step.
Right. Sounds a little bit futuristic.
And that's what this is all about. It's about Dialogic being more prepared for the future and looking to generate revenue in an area of communications and technology that seems to be the most resilient. As Jim Mackey told me on a recent phone call, he's the VP of marketing for the company, for Dialogic, that he doesn't believe people are going to give up their cell phones, and I tend to agree. It'll be one of the last things, and people would rather have a cell phone, I think, than a home. I mean, that's how attached we are to our devices, right? So it's going to be one of the last things that people give up, and if things get really tough in the economy, using your cell phone as an entertainment device is probably something that makes a lot of sense. The screens are getting bigger every day. The experience is getting better. The processors are getting stronger. I mean, there's a lot of potential, and Dialogic wants to be a major player in this new world. So I said in my blog entry that the CTI wars are now over. It's been over a decade of these companies fighting it out. Now they've all been consolidated into Dialogic, and now it's a matter of Dialogic going into this brave new world of services and trying to figure out ways of generating more revenue in spaces like video and ringtones and other applications that really haven't even been invented yet. Like you said, it's futuristic.
Right, right. Well, I hope you keep us posted on your blog at Tehrani.com.
I always do.
Thanks. That's all for today. I'm Jessica Kostek.
And I'm Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching.